Good morning, esteemed viewers. Many thanks for joining us on your favorite show, Good Morning Africa, on Housing TV Africa, a show where we discuss issues that are current, affairs in the country that are current. My name is Confidence Ruben, and with me in the studio is
Dorcas Chia, and it is a pleasure to begin this day with you here on Good Morning Africa. So good morning to you, Nigerians and Africans, and welcome to today's episode. Confidence, is a pleasure to be in the studio with you this particular morning. It's a pleasure every day.
Yeah.
I think this particular morning is special, but anyhow,
okay. Why is it special? Why is it special?
I don't know, but I think it's special. It's just a good day.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did you do? How is everything about you? How is everything going? How is the country treating you?
My dear, like I always say, we are surviving, we are holding on, and just like every other week, I'm very happy to begin this week. A lot of plans I have and goals to achieve and all that. So how was your weekend?
My weekend? Well, it was nothing other than usual. But then I was like, during the weekdays, it's like the week is like crawling. But when you get to Saturday, you just say Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
You're there already.
I was like, what is going on? Can't we just like spend much time, spending the weekends just like where we spend much hours during the weekdays? But then the week must come and go, and a new week we have to come.
That's very true.
That's how we move on. Yeah. So we'll be looking at economic challenges, that is affecting most Nigerians in our country here, ranging from unemployment, poverty, corruption, and all that. I mean, the economic, as at this time, unlike before, we would say it is the poor masses that is having issues when it comes to this economy. But right now with this, the president's reforms, it's like everybody,
even the
affected.
Elite.
Even the rich, the poor, the average man is affected in one way or the other. Nobody is left out. In a layman English, it is touching everybody.
True. Just like we say every day. I'm glad we are talking about this. This particular topic, because it's high time we look deep into the things that are actually affecting us, and also see ways we can push forward, make it better, not just survive. Yes, there's survival mechanisms and all that, but these are just short term and everything. We're looking at the long run. What can we do so that in the long run we can't be sitting here anymore again talking about this, but we'll be like, wow, the country is really evolving, is developing, economy is stable, the economy is stable and all that, and we'll still be looking at the way forward to stabilize it and keep it that way.
And due to these economic challenges, that's why most Nigerians are, kind of migrating to other countries. We call this Jackpot syndrome. If we all leave the country, who is going to make the country better?
That's just the very
So it is better for us to put heads together and, find a way forward to alleviate these economic challenges or problems that is facing us in our country.
Yes, all right. So right now we'll move to the next segment, which is I Can Make It. And when we return, we're going to join our guest via Zoom and begin this discussion. Today we are talking about the economic challenges in Nigeria and possible solutions. Stay tuned. This is still Good Morning Africa.
38 more days to go. Africa International Housing Show 2025 is almost here, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. We're bringing to you the biggest names in housing, construction, finance, and tech. Get registered, get your team. AIHS is where you start your dream of home ownership.
All right, you are welcome. This is Simon and Samantha saying you can make it. I love you and thank you for always tuning into this program. And I want to let you know that God has a plan for your life. And I tell you, life will not give you what you deserve. Life will give you what you demand. You can make it today. Well, I started, if you have been following us, I started a long time and we're talking about life can only be understood backward, but must be lived forward. And one of the things I was talking about, the things we need to learn, with things we need to learn. And if you learn them, apply them, you will get the best of life. It was Isaac Newton that said, if I have seen above, it by shining on the shoulder of them that have gone ahead of me. You learn. Every day we learn from different things. So even spending time and you are looking at us on this broadcast tonight or today, you are learning. And I tell you something, we must just learn in life if we want to have the best of life. The next thing I will be sharing with you in this aspect of learning that we have taken upon ourselves to share with us, learn that is not, the one I want to talk about today is that learn that you should learn to depend upon your own life. Don't wish to be like other people. Life is not competition. Like I said, life is turn by turn. Just know that it will get to your turn. It doesn't matter what is happening. God will get to your turn. And there's a place that said it will overturn and overturn until you come to the one which right it is. It will overturn it. Now, another thing I want us to learn, you should learn to know, not to depend on other people. Always learn to be self-dependent. Many times, a lot of disappointment comes from where you put your trust in people. A lot of people have often complained, oh, you thought this one will do. You are always thinking that this one will do for you. No, you just learn to be self-sufficient. Learn to be dependent on yourself. Trust God with what you have. Yes, people can help you, but don't put your hope in humans. They that trust them, those that put their trust in men, will habit the pasture in the wilderness. They will not see when good cometh. So don't put your confidence in man. Believe men, but don't put your confidence in him, because the people you actually trust can forget. They can actually forget you. I remember there's this young man many years ago that was interpreting dream, and he interpreted the dream of this man, and God helped the man, and the man was out of prison. But when the man has left, he forgot. Men will always forget. Men will forget. How many times God will set them up to also forget? Because you put your trust in man, you will get offended. They will forget. So it is also God that make them remember. So the best thing is to trust God. Believe man, trust God. Don't forget what I'm saying. Believe in man, but put your trust in God. If you put your trust in God, God is the only one that will not disappoint you. Always have to stand. Don't be, don't always have to stand on what you believe, and just continue, and I tell you, you will not be disappointed. Learn to be content with what you have. Learn to be content with what you have. It is said that godliness with contentment is great gain. Learn to be content with what you have. Contentment will make you get the best. Aspire for a greater thing, but be content with what you have. Be happy. Thank God for what you have. A lot of people today, they are not grateful because they are always looking at other people. Oh, this person have just done this. Oh, this person have just done this. But what about the things that God is doing with your life? Learn to be content. Learn to talk to yourself. Learn to thank God about what God has made available for you. Learn to appreciate him for the things that he has done in your life. Learn to appreciate him for the children you have. This same thing that you have that you are not happy about is what somebody is believing God for and trusting God for. For example, there are people today, they are not married, but you that are married, you don't have value for your marriage. There are people today, they are married, but they don't have children. But some have children, they neglect their children. You can see our children on our streets holding some plate and begging. Now, these are same people, they are paying huge amount of money for IVF so that they can have a child. Learn to appreciate what you have. But when you constantly look out and you are not appreciating of what you have, you will neglect, and at the end of the day, it will lead to regret. Learn to appreciate, be content with such as you have. Learn that everybody is equal. Don't wish to be like other people. God does not make mistake in creating you. Listen to me. Don't bother to begin to look like, want to be like this, you want to be like that. No. Want to be all that God has made you to be. And as you do that, you will know that there's a plan of God concerning your life. You are unique. You are a special species. God have created you with all that he has. And I want to let you know, learn to appreciate that who God has made you to be. You are a man of value, and I want to tell you, learn that every action there is an equal opportunity respond. Every action you take, there is an equal response to it. So when you take action, always know that there is going to be a consequence. Learn not to worry much, because worry will not solve any problem. Worry does not solve any problem. You see, somebody that worry is like what faith is. When you have faith, you trust God and believe on. When you worry, you have disbelief and you can't move on. Worry make you sweat. Even when you are not running, you are just a rocket chair, you are not making any progress. So learn not to worry. Be careful for nothing. And one of the things that will make you not to worry is learn to think positively. There is a book I wrote some years ago, Living Positive in a Negative World. Every time around you see negative news, negative this, negative that, and everything that surrounds us sound negative. But I want to tell you something. Don't worry. I let you know, worry cannot solve any problem. Worry cannot solve any problem. It is very important. So one of the ways to avert worry is to think positively. And what I will advise you today is that learn to think well. Think positively. Think of what is good. Think of what is lovely. Think of what is of good report. Think on good things. Take good thought. Be deliberate about your thought. Don't dwell on the things that you don't have. Don't dwell on those things that push you down. Don't dwell on the things that make you have depression. It's this worry that make people and most of the things we worry about never come to pass. And most times it's the thing this worry that make people go into committing suicide. Worry that make people, you already form a picture. The enemy already give you a picture in your mind. Oh, people will shame you. This is what is going to happen. I remember a young girl that worry and kill herself just last month here. Why? Commit suicide because a lecturer will always fail her. I tell you something. Those obstacles that the enemy has put on your way, they can become a stepping stone. I like this thing, the Bible verse that always say, all things work together for good to them that love God and to them that are called according to his purpose. I want to let you know today, you can make it. Put worry aside. Worry does not help anybody. Worry will make you depressed. Worry will not bring out the best. Learn to put words into action. It's very important. Learn to put words into action, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Learn. Don't stop worrying. Put your word, put action to your word. A lot of us, we take note, we hear. You are listening to me right now, you are hearing. You don't act on it. And until you act on it, you are like a man that doctor said, if you eat this food, you will not die. And they told you have just 3 minutes to live, or 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes to live. But they gave you food and said, eat this food now and you will not die. You say, oh, I believe that if I eat this food, I will not die. I tell you something, the food can be in your front. If you don't eat it within the time stipulated, you can die, even with everything to help you in front. That is how worry is. Let's cast away worry. Let's believe God and trust him for the best of our life. It doesn't matter the economic situation we find ourselves today. I tell you something, no matter the economy of the jungle, lion does not eat grass. I tell you, lion doesn't eat grass, and I want to tell you, you can make it, you can succeed. Always know the word impossibility is not part of God's plan. It doesn't matter. That word impossible is just impossible to you, but with God, all things are possible. Let's drop away worry today. And one last word I will want to tell you this day before I leave the studio is the worst prison in this, the word prison in this world is a home without peace. So as much as you can, live in peace with all men, with your wife, your husband, with your colleagues in your office. Live in peace. The worst prison in this world is a home or a place of work without peace. Be careful who you marry. Be careful who you marry. All fail, before you fall in love. All failed marriage start from not understanding how you love to, dwell together with wisdom and knowledge. So be careful. The worst prison in this world is a place where there is no peace. I want to say we love you, and until I see you again in our next edition, this is Simon and Semota saying, you can make it. God bless you. Thank you for being a part of
TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back if you are just joining us. This is Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa, and today we are going to be discussing the economic challenges and the possible solutions here in our country, Nigeria. And before I introduce our guests, let's just take a look at a brief background of this particular issue. It says Nigeria is Africa's most populous country and one of its largest economies face persistent economic challenges that hinder sustainable growth and development. Chief among these problems are high unemployment, inflation, overdependence on oil revenues, poor infrastructure, and widespread corruption. Unemployment, especially among the youth, remains a major concern, with millions of graduates entering the labor market that lacks sufficient job opportunities. Compounding this issue is inflation, which erodes purchasing power and raises the cost of living. Today on Good Morning Africa, we will be discussing this particular topic, and I have with me a journalist who is going to be throwing more light on this particular issue. His name is Tewase Lawrence. It's good to have you on the program, Tewase.
Yeah, as always, a pleasure, and I'm glad to be here, and I hope to have a very fruitful conversation.
Yes, okay. So right now we are talking about the major challenges affecting our country in Nigeria, and I would like to know from your own perspective, how would you describe the economy of Nigeria and everything it encompasses? Do you think it's stable enough and we are actually benefiting from the economy itself?
Thank you very much for that question. Permit me to sprinkle and weigh in some theoretical postulations here. People, when we're talking about the economy, a lot of people have different views. A lot of people have diverse perspectives about what economy is all about. But little do they know that economy is a very holistic concept that encompasses political, social, and the economic well-being of the people. So I wouldn't want to delve into the literature, but I will have to speak within the purview of the Nigeria economic scenario. Well, we all know that Nigeria economy is just striving to survive right now. We are on a survival mode. Things are very tough, and it's not just one problem that has been the cause of this economic wars in the country. It's a whole mix of issues making life harder for everyone. Let's start with the inflation. Reportedly, by the end of 2024, it was reported that over 34% of inflation was recorded, which was a record, some sort of record. And people have been spending a lot of their earnings on production have been spending a lot of their earnings on things like transportation, food, fuel, and even school fees, which have skyrocketed considerably. And when you come to look at the level of people, the economic status of the people right now, unlike before where people were actually growing financially, many people are now trying to live by the hook. They are no longer living the best of life right now. They are trying to survive in the midst of this economic war. 1 minute with importance big time, because they can't plan anything with all that uncertainty. Adding to the points I've made mention of there, on top of that, we also have the national debt that has gone through the roof. The national budget, the national budget has considerably been affected because of our national debt, which has gone through the roof. Currently, over 30% of the entire budget is now going into just paying back the loans we collected from international organizations. That's the money that they should be used to fixing roads, building hospitals, or improving schools. That's the money that they have been using to empower youth, especially in the era of technology. But instead, we are stopped paying the debt. And why the government keeps talking every day about moving away from the usual oil conversation and diversifying the economy, We are still stuck doing the same old thing. No real shift practically in other sectors like technology, agriculture, or manufacturing industry. Then we also have the insecurity that has been a major problem, especially nowadays, from kidnappings to bandits attacks to farmers' herders clashes. It's becoming way too risky to live or do business in certain parts of the country right now. Farmers are being compelled to leave their lands. Traders are scared to travel from one place to another for business trips. When it comes to put all these things together, you have an economy that is barely holding on. We're on a survival mode. And until we start tackling these issues properly, we're just going to keep spinning in cycles, hoping that things will magically change. But would that change is a question that we'll have to answer another day.
Okay, let's talk about our dependence on oil. You agree with that Nigeria solely depends on oil these days when it comes to, our economy. How has our dependence on oil affect our economic stability?
Historically, Nigeria is one of the highest oil producing nations in Africa and of the world generally. So that was what prompted us to be enshrined as the member of the OPEC. That's to tell you that oil has been the most valuable natural resource that can be found in the country. So because of the egocentrism around the oil production now, a lot of efforts, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources were put towards that because it's a good mine. So instead of exploring other sectors that could have actually empowered the people, that could have actually increased the economy now, could actually increase the economy, the GDP now, efforts were not channeled to other sectors. They were all compared to put in everything they have into the oil because they feel that with the boom, they can actually stand a better chance of competing economically, globally with other people. So the attention is the major problem here. That our dependence on oil has somehow been detrimental to the effort and the strategies and the policies that we would have used to explore and expand and leverage other sectors where the country would be generating the revenue. So it has affected us greatly. It's just recently that the country and everybody, particularly the entrepreneurs, are now discovering the essence of not relying only on oil. They are trying to explore the areas of technology. And unlike before, where agriculture, some people feel that agriculture was actually meant for the bourgeoisie. It's no longer the case now. Nowadays, even as wealthy the man is in Nigeria, they will feel that agriculture is a good mine. So people are returning back to their cultural antecedent, which is the agriculture. Attention is now being driven considerably from the oil. They are now depending on the sectors of technology and agriculture to help revamp the economic woes that we're facing.
All right. Okay, you are now talking about oil, the overdependence of citizens on oil, and even with us depending solely on oil, we still have situations where we are not producing the oil, but we give out these raw materials, and then we have to, allow we export it out, allow the foreign countries to produce, then we bring it back. Let us look at how that on its own has also affected the economy. And for me, I feel it makes it a bit useless to be dependent on oil and we are not producing oil but buying from outside while exporting the raw materials out there.
Okay, that's a very simple question if you ask me, because naturally Nigeria, since the British colonized Nigeria, there is this level of dependence that has become part and parcel of us. There is a form of imperialism where we feel that anything that is outside the country, that is coming from Europe, that is coming from America, or that is coming from anything geographically outside the country, has a better value. It's not as if we don't have those things in the country, but we believe that those people are our masters. So if we buy from them, that will give us the quality and the value for what we actually pay for. So that imperialism, even though we got our independence in 1960, that internally and inherently, that has been part of us, and we believe that everything that has come from the abroad now will make good value for money we are paid. So at the same time, that has been able to affect us. Why do I say so? Because of what? The abundance of resources inherent in the country here, across all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, across the 36 states of the Federation. Now we are failed to leverage and weaponize them to enhance the economy, the local economy. Until recently, when there were so many policies, international policies that started affecting our bilateral relationship with the international organizations, where we are now being compared to come back home, leverage the resources we have here, and at least contribute to the growing economy. At this point now, the government at all tiers, I'm talking about federal, states, and the local government, started recognizing the imperative of coming back to use the resources here, weaponizing them, leveraging them, and manipulating them to enhance and add to the economic development of the country. So, but then this has just started. We haven't stayed long on this platform. We haven't stayed long. They have just started, and it's going to take us some time before we actually start to appreciate what we have back home. Or else, at this point now, there are still factions of Nigerians that still believe that unless we buy things from outside before, they will give us a value for what we have now. So the consequences are very, very disastrous. Trust me, economically, politically, and socially. It has also affected our image, kind of.
Okay, so I want us to move now, to move now to the issue of unemployment. They say the people in the society are one of the, they're one of the factors or the brain behind economic growth. And we have a high level and even an increasing level of unemployment in Nigeria. And these people who are the workforce, who will help to grow the economy. We have people coming out of schools every year, graduating, and there's no and they are unemployed. So let us talk about the reason why Nigeria is still unemployed when we who are Nigeria is still having a high rate of employment, when the citizens who are the workforce that will help to grow the GDP of the country are unemployed. Let's talk about why we are having it so high in Nigeria.
Okay, you see, for every country, even the most developing economies, you could discover that the youths constitute majority of the percentage to the GDP of those countries now. The youths are energetic, they are very vibrant, and they are very sound. Unlike our fathers, unlike our elders, the veterans there who are already going out of sorts, their relevance in the society is more moral than economic. And if you look at it now, if you remember what we were talking about, the oil now, our dependence on oil for economic growth, our dependence on oil to add to our GDP now has affected us such that other sectors which would have incorporated the youths now have been ignored. And statistically, majority of the unemployed people in Nigeria here are youth between the ages of 35 downwards. And these people are very vibrant, they are very sound, they are very enlightened enough. Okay, now let's look at the era of technology. The world is evolving gradually and technology is taking over. And these people now, because of the way things are going in the country right now and how technology has become a gold mine now, they are looking at how they can leverage technology, because every youth right now, go to the street, you see, if you meet 10 youths, you find that 8 people out of 10 will be interested in digital technology. But how has the government been able to expand that sector to be able to accommodate the influx of graduates who are unemployed on the street? Little has been done, except for very rare moments whereby the government will come up with a program and initiative, and this initiative will consequently be politicized, such that even people with the most competence will have to know somebody to be able to get the slot. At the same time, because of the difficulties in accessing these opportunities and also grants, because many Nigerians now, they don't really want government to employ them. They want to be self-employed, but they cannot do this all by themselves. They need a kind of support, and this support can be in form of a grant. But when these grants are being initiated, the difficulties in accessing these grants make people to become very complacent there. They feel that they need to know somebody, they need to be connected to a politician, they need to be connected to somebody who has the long legs in the government to be able to have a slot. So because of the difficulties, they become discouraged, and then they hit the street there as an unemployed person. It could be a graduate, a non-graduate. So the level of unemployment now has contributed to our economic woes, and unemployment has been contributing and can still continue to contribute to the economic woes, so that if they don't employ the youth, which constitute the majority of the population in Nigeria now, which their sector is basically agriculture and technology, they will not add anything to the GDP. Rather, they will only those people, the veterans who have stayed in the government or who have served the country for so many years, will be allowed to do the whole workings, and that will not work. It will actually, there will be a downward spiral in the course of GDP stabilization. So unemployment is a detriment to the GDP increment. It's something that the government needs to work on, because majority of the people who needs to work in this sector, the technology and agriculture, are still on the street. And right now, there is no initiative whatsoever to help combat this.
All right, let's talk about inflation. The prices of goods in the market keep skyrocketing on a daily basis, as in it is incessant. When you buy a particular goods in the market for this particular price this minute, the next second or even the next hour, the prices has changed. There is nobody, no organization, nobody at all regulating the prices of goods in the market. And with these prices of goods in the market keeps going up, the average Nigerian is being affected.
Yes, it gets very frustrating.
The average Nigerian keeps being affected by these prices of goods that are not being regulated. When you go to other countries, they have a body that regulates the prices of goods. You don't have the right to sell whatever you want to sell at a particular. The prices must be regulated. Now, what measures can be used in order to reduce this, in order to have a regulated prices of goods in the market?
Okay, to regulate inflation in the country now, just like you rightfully pointed out, there is no form of regulation, there is no form of a legal promulgation that actually constrain marketers from fixing their prices on whatever they are selling in the market. Because nowadays it's very likely for you to go to the market, what you bought at 500 naira yesterday, by 4 p.m. you go to the market the following day around 8 a.m. They will tell you that the prices have increased by 35%. You will have to pay like 800 or 1,000, depends on who is selling and the level greed of the marketer. Because you see that all these things have been happening. That's why you can buy something. There are certain things that appear negotiable, and then there are things that we don't negotiate. We go and pick them up. For example, you buy a sachet of water. Right now, it has become a trademark that a sachet of water, one is 15 naira. You can't negotiate up, you can't negotiate down. But you go to buy certain things like a model of beans in the market now. Those ones can be negotiated. Either up or you can negotiate down. Now for this particular shop, you are buying something the same thing at 500 naira. The next shop, if you go there, they will sell you at either 400 less, or maybe they will sell you at 1,000 or so. All these things are happening because there is no regulatory framework in place. There is no legal promulgation. There is no legal sanction purportedly to punish and sanction people who are inflating the cost of goods now. So back to your question, how you ask whether when you ask that the methods in which they can control the inflation, like the prices now, it will not be easy to control the prices, but then the government can start from somewhere. It will take some time before these measures can be implemented. First, the government needs to have a regulatory body in place. This regulatory body at the federal level, it should also come to the grassroots. There should be joint task force in every market in Nigeria where by every good should be regulated. Every product should be regulated. And the government should ensure that they fix prices for certain commodities, even if it's not all, but about 80% of the products we find in the markets now, the government should fix a standard price. And the standard price here will ensure that this joint task force and the regulatory promulgations here will ensure that every marketer, every trader in Nigeria operates within the framework. They operate within the purview. If they say that a model of beans should not be sold more than 1,500 naira, no trader, no marketer in Nigeria should be allowed to sell it more than 1,500, even if it's 1,510 naira, as far as the person is operating within the legal promulgation, is fine. That's one of the main ways in which the government can help control inflation. If not, the way the country is actually going, the economy is actually getting worse. Maybe at some point we'll have to buy a sachet of water at 1,000 naira, which should not come as a surprise because there is no regulation whatsoever in the market. And the government should ensure that they are able to put up, they promulgate the laws, they promulgate the framework, and then constitute joint task force in every major market in Nigeria. When they start from here, even the local market and these less major markets now can actually use that as a framework, as a catalyst to now do it more.
All right, thank you so much. It was nice having this interview with you. Thank you so much. At least we've learned one or two. But before we let you go, in one word, there are upcoming entrepreneurs, that want to start one business or the other. But looking at the economic challenges in this country, some are kind of contemplating, some are kind of having double mind. What's your advice for these upcoming entrepreneurs in Nigeria? In few words, please.
Okay. And one thing is, we should all know, I'm speaking particularly to the youth like myself. Entrepreneurship is a gold mine, but it's still not a gold mine if you understand this promulgation. You know, if you actually succeed in entrepreneurship, you can actually make wealth out of it, but it's not always the walk in the park. There are challenges that you can confront. So you shouldn't be discouraged. It's just for you to navigate through different challenges that will be coming through your way. You will never have it very easy. Entrepreneurship is not just about going to the market, buying a particular product, bringing it back home, and then posting on social media that so things are available for people should come and buy so you'll be able to get food and eat. No, it's beyond that. It encompasses sales, it encompasses marketing, it encompasses human resource management, it encompasses a lot of technicalities. Yeah, there is nothing easy in life. There is nothing easy. You will never have it all your way, but the challenges will be there. They are inevitable. You can never tell what will be the challenges. But then when you start, you just need to start. You shouldn't be discouraged, because when you start, you will say that it's a very interesting path that everybody will want to follow. So I want all my fellow youths not to be discouraged. They should venture into it. Yes, the challenges will be there, but they are not too big for you to surmount. You can actually surmount.
All right. Okay, sorry, just one last question before we actually let you go. Sorry. Looking at the issue of digital technology and innovation, can you just briefly, please, just point out how we can use that to drive economic growth in the country? Because it's something that it's happening, it's something that is growing, it's evolving, and it's becoming a part of us. So let us see how we can key into this as a nation. Government can key into this as a nation and be able to use this to drive the economic growth.
Okay, thank you very much. It's an interesting question that I was actually looking forward to being asked here. Digital economy encompasses a whole lot of microcosms. And, let's talk about technology in particular, because it's becoming a gold mine. There are a lot of things that people can actually venture into that can help them to be self-employed, that can help them to be useful to themselves and the society in general. Even people marketing. It's no longer the traditional marketing that we used to have. It has gone digital right now. And then as it goes digital, there is an increment in the level of patronage as well. So somebody who traditionally would wake up, go to the market and make a sale of 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 5,000 naira, have had their earnings tripled or doubled, as the case may be. Depends on what the person is actually selling. The reason here is what is the incorporation of digital technology, is the incorporation of the digital economy. And you see that some people right now, they are working remotely. Somebody can work remotely and still be a millionaire. Somebody can work remotely and still be a billionaire. But they are not just earning the money. There are taxations that they are all paying. And these taxes are very imperative. They are very important. They are important such that they contribute to the economic growth of the country, because the government also need a fair share of your earnings to be able to implement the policies, provided they are not hypothetically implemented. And the technology now, almost everybody, even the traditional civil servants, unlike before now, they are trying to find a way of venturing into the digital technology so that they will be able to expand their businesses, they will be able to expand their careers, and they will be able to now multiply, double their earnings or triple their earnings. And as they triple, they're also paying some sort of taxes to the government, because the government also need that. So digital economy can actually help improve the economy of Nigeria. There are other things that are still operating in analog system right now, but because of the inefficiency of the people doing them, the inefficiency of the things around now, the productivity has been hampered. And considering the time that they used to do all these things analog wise, if you involve the digital technology into the context and the efficiency has been improved, it will be able to attract a whole lot of commission from that. And that commission from the taxation by virtue of percentage now can help to add to the treasury of the nation, and that can also increase the GDP. So digital economy is a good man right now, aside agriculture and the oil. So these three sectors are what the country needs to hold passionately and religiously to be able to increase the digital economy, because more people will still venture into technology. As we speak, if over 80% of Nigerian youths are into in the metropolitans of Nigeria now are into the digital technology. And in the coming years, we expect more influx. People who are coming up, these children who are from the primary school, who are in the secondary school, and who are currently in tertiary institutions right now, they will venture into digital technology, and that can also increase the workforce and the efficiency of how things can be done. And that can also, through the taxation, they will be able to increase in the GDP of the country.
All right, thank you so much, Tewase Lawrence. If we continue this conversation, we won't leave here today. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
All right.
And this is where we draw the curtain this morning on Good Morning Africa. So if you have watched and you have listened, I hope that we as a people will come together and see ways in which we can move our country forward. So keep watching Good Morning Africa, keep watching Housing TV Africa, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms on YouTube, and you can also download this app on Play Store and your Apple Store also. So thank you so much for joining us. I remain Dorcas Chia. Goodbye.